Judge Piper.
Thank you.
Mr. Smestad. State your name for the record, please. Spell your last name.
My name is Alex Vang, V-A-N-G.
How old are you, Alex?
I'm 19 years old.
Do you go to school? Do you work?
I'm a student at St. John's University,
What are you studying?
global business leadership.
What year are you at St. John's?
I'm a first year.
Were you familiar with a person named Isaac Schuman?
I was.
How did you know him?
He's my best friend.
How many years were you best friends with Isaac?
7th grade, I first met him.
Were you with Isaac Schuman on July 30th of 2022?
Yes, I was.
Were you part of a group of your friends that tubed down the Apple River near Somerset, Wisconsin?
Yes.
Were you with Isaac when he was stabbed and killed that day?
Yes, I was.
It's my understanding from other testimony that you were the driver. You drove everybody to the river
Correct.
to rent tubes at River's Edge.
Yep.
Do you remember if you got a receipt for the tubes? Pay for them?
I don't think so, no.
Do you remember what time you got on the river?
Estimate maybe around 1:30.
Was your group together in the tubes?
Yes.
Were your tubes connected together?
Yes.
What's the plan to float down to Village Park in Somerset?
If that's at the end, yes.
Do you have plans for a return trip back to River's Edge?
Say again?
Did you have plans on how to get back from Village Park up to River's Edge?
Yeah, we were probably gonna find a ride.
While you were tubing the river, were you drinking alcohol?
Yes, I was.
What kind of alcohol did you have?
Just some beers, some Michelob Goldens, and maybe some the like ultras or something, whatever they're called.
Did you have any hard liquor?
I did not.
Do you know if anybody in your group was drinking hard liquor?
I don't recall.
Did you use any other drugs that day?
Yeah, I smoked some weed.
All right. By weed, you mean marijuana?
Yes, please. Or yes.
All right. As you were floating down the river, did you eventually have contact with the defendant, Mr. Miu?
Yes, I did.
All right. Do you know whereabouts you were in the river when you first saw him?
I don't recall. I just know we were a little bit a ways from a bridge.
Had you been on the river before?
I have.
How many times?
Just the year previous.
When you first saw Mr. Miu, what was he doing?
He was just looking in the water with some snorkeling gear.
All right. Did you ask him what he was doing?
I did.
What did you say?
He said, you're snorkeling in some pretty short water. Like, what are you looking for?
And how did he answer?
He said something along the lines of, he responded with looking for little girls or something like that.
All right. Are you aware that, we'll strike that. Did you record any part of your interaction with?
I did not.
Now let me finish my question.
I'm sorry.
Is this your first time testifying?
It is.
Are you a little nervous?
Yes.
All right. Did you yourself record any part of the incident on the river?
No, I did not.
All right. Are you aware that somebody else in your group was?
Yes.
Who was that?
Jawan Cockfield.
Have you had a chance to review that video?
Yep, I watched it once.
And did you see yourself in the video?
Yes.
At the time that you asked Mr. Miu what he was doing and he responded like that, is any of that on the video?
No.
At some point, did Mr. Miu run up on your group?
He did.
Did that cause you concern?
Yes, I was very scared.
Did you bail out of your tube?
I did.
What did he do when he ran up?
From what I remember, he ran up to us and grabbed our tubes and stopped us from carrying on.
All right, were you floating at that time?
Yes, we were.
He stopped you from floating?
Yes.
I'm going to show you a still frame from the video. 0156. Or do you put it on the screen? Alex, I'm showing you frame 0156 of Jawan's video. Are you in that picture?
That's me, yes.
Does this describe when this picture was taken? I mean, what's going on when you're in the water there?
This must have been when he was running towards our tubes and was just about grabbing our tubes, and I was off the tubes at that moment.
Whose leg is in the foreground of the picture?
I'd assume at the very bottom that's Jawan's.
All right. At that point, had you separated yourself away from your raft of tubes?
Yes, I did.
Why?
I was concerned for my safety. I didn't know what his intentions were running up on our tubes.
All right. Is it fair to say that prior to him running up, Jawan called him some names?
Yes.
All right. Were you involved in calling him any names before he ran up on the group?
Yes.
Do you know whether he was alone or with the group?
From what I saw, he was just by himself.
Did he have a tube?
No, not that I saw.
When he ran up on you, were you able to see whether he had anything in his pocket?
No.
At any point during this interaction with him, did you know he had a knife?
No.
Did you know Mr. Miu at all?
I did not.
Do you remember how long you'd been on the river by the time you had this run-in with him?
I'd estimate maybe an hour, hour and a half.
When he ran up and grabbed onto your raft of tubes, did he say anything that you heard?
I don't recall.
Did he, I know from the still we just looked at that you had gotten off your tubes. Did he make any physical contact with you at all?
Not me, no.
At any time during this incident, did he ever have any physical contact with you?
No.
As he's grabbing onto your tubes, did you say anything to him?
I don't recall.
Did you threaten him in any fashion?
No.
Did you tell him he had 10 seconds to leave or anything like that?
No.
You did call him some names?
Yes, I did.
What kind of names did you call him?
Pedophile, predator.
Maybe a dumb question, but you don't seem to be proud of that?
No, sir.
Do you agree that you boys probably weren't very kind to him?
Yeah, I agree.
In the context of what happened, though, did you know what his intentions were?
No.
Eventually, did you and your friends start yelling at him to get away?
Yes, we did.
Were you using raised voices?
Yes.
You've seen that all on the video?
Yes.
At some point, did other folks come over to see what was going on?
They did.
Do you recall who was or can you describe the first person that showed up to?
The first person I saw come up was maybe a small white lady.
All right. What did she do?
She pretty much just confronted him face to face, saying to leave these kids alone. You could leave right now. Just leave these guys alone.
Did she swear at him?
I don't recall.
All right. Did she have dark hair or blonde hair?
I don't recall, but my best estimate would be blonde.
Right. At some point, did you see two women from another group confronting him?
Yeah.
And what was the other woman doing, the second woman?
From what I remember, she was just next to the other lady. I don't recall what she was really doing.
Did you hear her tell him to leave at all,
A lot of people were telling him to leave.
including you?
Yes.
At some point, as you reviewed the video, do you realize you guys are laughing at him?
Yes.
Why was that, if you know?
You know, he felt like it was kind of those situations where, like, you know, yeah, we like caught someone doing something wrong, and you know, it's something like that.
Did you think that he was getting in trouble from this other group?
Yes, I was thinking that he was finally about to leave and stop all the commotion that's going on.
Were you feeling relieved?
Objection.
Sustained.
Say again. I'm sorry.
There's an objection. I have to rule. Sustained means don't answer.
Okay, gotcha.
So
Next question.
As Mr. Miu's talking to the two women that are, were they standing in front of him, behind him? Where were they?
The two women?
Yes.
They're in front of him.
Did you ever hear him say, you know, get out of my way, let me go?
I did not.
Did you ever hear him call out for help?
No.
Did you and your group of friends surround him? By that I mean encircle him?
I'm going to object. I'm going to ask him to let him answer the question.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that all. I didn't
I'm
hear.
going to let him answer the question. He was trying to answer the question and he was interrupted.
Well, it's his witness. I'll let him interrupt his own witness.
Did you encircle Mr. Miu before any of the fight started?
I wouldn't say circle. I would say we were standing near to him. We weren't, yeah.
All right. If we can go to slide 2593. If we can turn it on. All right, Alex, I'm showing you a still frame 2593 from Jawan's video.
We do have to slip in a break, but when we come back, we'll hear the answer to the question of whether or not the blonde individual in that group ever punched the defendant. Don't go anywhere.
Join Court TV's Vinnie Politan
In every story, in every trial, every case, there's at least two sides to it.
to dive into the latest and breaking true crime stories.
This was a very targeted, very personal attack.
Inside
My whole life depends on it.
and outside of the courtroom.
She's a psychopath.
Now, let's look at the other side of all of that.
Vinnie Politan Investigates. Saturday morning, 10/9 Central. Only on Court TV.
Welcome back. We are watching the trial for a Minnesota man who's accused of stabbing several people on Wisconsin's Apple River. That's underway right now. And the prosecution alleges that the defendant, Nicolae Miu, got into a confrontation with a group of young people who were tubing on the river back in July of 2022. 4 adults were injured in that stabbing, and a 17-year-old, Isaac Schuman, was killed. Miu claims that the stabbing was all in self-defense.
On the stand right now is another one of the friends of the victim. His name is Isaac Vang. Let's pick up right where we left off.
Is this what you saw when you described the two women standing in front of him?
Correct.
Were any of your friends behind him?
No.
In relation to this picture, where was your group of friends located?
I would say maybe to the back and to the left.
All right. Were you within arm's reach of him?
From this picture, no, I wasn't.
Was anybody else in your group at this point within arm's reach of him?
No.
All right, so as he's being scolded by these women, what did you see Mr. Miu do?
Say again?
What did he do? Once this frame is up, once these women are standing in front of him, did you see him do something?
Yeah. From what I remember, these two women were confronting him, and he decided to punch one of the ladies, which I remember being the blonde one, right in the face.
You saw him do that?
Yeah.
Did you know that lady at all?
No, I did not.
Did you ever met her before in your life?
No, I did not.
Did you even talk to her on the river?
No.
She was a complete stranger to you?
Complete stranger? Yes.
What part of her body did he punch?
The face?
Do you remember, and I know this was 2 years ago, but do you remember which hand he used?
The right hand?
At that point, do you know whether he used a closed fist or an open hand?
I don't recall, but I know he struck her in the face.
All right. And how did she react bodily?
Well, I mean, a lot happened when that first happened, but from what I remember, she reacted how anyone else would react to getting hit in the face, is maybe holding the part where she got hit.
Did she go down?
I don't recall.
After Mr. Miu punched the blonde lady in the face, did her friends react?
They did.
What happened?
Well, after he punched her in the face, their friends hopped on him, trying to pretty much retaliate from him hitting her in the face.
Was Mr. Miu likewise struck in the face? If you saw?
I don't recall. I knew he was getting hit.
Did you see him go down?
Yes, I did.
At any time while this fight had started, did you see him holding the knife in his hand at all?
No.
Did he eventually get back up?
Yes, he did.
At that point, did you notice that there were some folks that were injured?
I'd say within 5 seconds, I realized that there were people stabbed.
All right. Do you remember who the first person was that you saw stabbed?
I saw the blonde white lady get stabbed first.
Not the same one who got punched or the same one that got punched?
I don't recall. I just do remember seeing a blonde white lady stabbed first. I can't tell you if it was the same one, but...
Okay. We're gonna look at a still frame here. Still 2944. As you had watched the video and saw yourself laughing, at some point, was there a point in the video where your expression changes?
Yes.
We're going to show a sequence of slides. Start at 29:15. All right, Alex, this is slide 29:15 from the video. Do you see yourself in that video?
Yes, I do.
Is that you in the back center?
Yep.
You're looking off to your right?
Yes.
The gentleman object. Kind of question, actually.
Okay. Which direction are you looking?
From where I'm, from my point of view to my right, or a bit, pretty much like around like this direction.
And we're going to go through it here.
All right, we need to slip in a commercial break. Let's first bring in Matthew Mangino. And Matthew, this is a difficult case, and it's one that has a lot of people's attention. One of the allegations here is that the defendant was the first to throw a punch, hitting that blonde girl, Madison Cohen. She testified. We couldn't show that. She says she was hit. Now we've just heard this witness say she was hit. The video doesn't show that. And in fact, in the time that she is on video from beginning and past it, the defense argues she's still holding her drink. She doesn't seem to react. There's no evidence of her getting hit, according to the defense. But now we're hearing multiple people say they saw that happen. How important is that the defendant would throw the first blow? I don't want to call it a punch because it's unclear exactly what it was, but how important is that?
You know, it's interesting, Ted, because we have videotape of this incident, but we're filling in the holes in the videotape, so to speak, with witness testimony. So we have to balance both. So what we actually observe as individuals, as the juries actually observe, and what these witnesses are telling us they observe as well. Certainly if he threw a punch, there may be some responsibility even of the others to stop him or to intervene, or to defend her. She has a right to defend herself, and others who are with her, if she's unable to defend herself, could intervene. But ultimately, what we do see on the video is him going down, him being hit, and is that enough for him to use lethal force to protect himself? So self-defense is a matter of using the appropriate force to protect yourself, and is lethal force appropriate here?
And you've got the young people claiming defense of others. You've got the defendant claiming self-defense. It's going to be a difficult, I think, deliberation, for this jury. Now, stand by. We are going to take that break. But as soon as we get back, we're going to hear the witness breaking down and getting emotional when talking about trying to help his bleeding friend. That's next. Welcome back to Court TV Live. Thanks for following along with us. I'm Julia Janae here with Ted Rollins, and we are tracking several trials this hour. First in Wisconsin, we are covering testimony in the Apple River Stabbings trial, where the defendant is Nicolae Miu.
We're also in Idaho. It's day 2 of jury selection in the Doomsday Prophet murder trial for Chad Daybell. That continues at this hour.
Our focus, though, this hour is on Wisconsin, where that testimony is continuing. We're hearing from witnesses who were there, eyewitnesses on the stand in that case against Nicolae Miu.
Yeah, he's a 54-year-old man accused of killing a teenager and stabbing 4 others while tubing on the Apple River. This is on the border of Wisconsin and Minnesota. He was there with his wife and a group. There were several groups on that river, and at the end of the day, one 17-year-old was dead.
And one of those other 17-year-olds in the group with that victim is on the stand now. Alex Vang testifying about what he said precipitated this fight.
We're gonna go through it here. All right, we're looking at slide 2944. Do you see yourself in that still as well?
Yep.
What's the expression on your face?
Completely shocked.
What had you seen at that point that made you have that expression on your face?
I'd seen a stab wound that was actively bleeding, and it was nothing.
Man or a woman?
Woman.
Is that the woman that you testified earlier that you had seen get stabbed?
I would need to see again, but I don't completely recall.
Were you injured in any way?
No.
Did Mr. Miu do anything to you?
No, he didn't do anything to me.
All right. Did you ever lay a hand on him?
No.
At some point, did you realize that Isaac Schuman had been stabbed?
Yes.
Did you actually see that happen?
I didn't see the action of him getting stabbed, no.
When did you first realize that he had been stabbed?
I noticed he got stabbed when he fell into the water.
Were you near him when that happened?
I was close. I was a couple feet away from him.
What did you see on Isaac as he fell into the water? And I know this is hard.
Yeah. So when he fell into the water, I knew he was holding the left side of his chest, and so when I picked him up, I noticed he had a huge gash in his chest that was bleeding out.
We're gonna play a portion of the video starting at the 2:15 mark. While that's getting set up, did you, once you realized that Isaac was injured, did you go to him?
Yeah, I immediately grabbed him, saw that he was injured and wasn't able to completely move, and that's when I decided I needed to hold pressure onto the wound and drag him to the shore.
Did you do that?
I did. I apologize.
At some point, did some folks stop to help you care for Isaac?
Yeah, some adults came by and helped us out.
Did you, were you present while they were trying to render aid to Isaac?
Yes, I was.
Eventually, did EMTs and police arrive on the river?
They did.
Did you see them take Isaac off the river?
Yes.
Did you follow?
Yeah, my sister and my brother-in-law picked me up and drove me to the hospital where he was getting sent to.
While you were at the hospital where they brought Isaac, did you speak to police?
Yes, I did.
Do you remember if you spoke to police on the side of the river as well?
Yep.
Did you tell them what happened?
Yes.
All right, we can go to the screen. We're playing the video starting at 2:15. Alex, I'm going to ask you to review this, and I know it's going to be difficult. The beginning of the video, was that you running towards where Isaac was in the water?
Yes.
Did anyone else run towards Isaac besides for you?
Yeah.
Who else?
Owen Peliquin.
Was he in your group that day?
Yes, he was.
I know it's been almost 2 years, but do you remember the face of the person who did this?
Yes, I do.
Do you see him in the courtroom here?
Yeah.
Can you point him out, say what he's wearing?
He's right there.
What's he wearing?
Suit jacket, dress pants, brown shoes.
Far left of the table from your perspective?
Correct.
While you were at the hospital, is that when you and your friends were informed that Isaac had passed away?
Yes.
I don't have any other questions.
Mr. Trophy.
Mr. Vang, you're a student at St. John's?
Correct.
Okay. You go to school with Joanne Cockfield?
I do.
Okay. Are you guys roommates or anything?
No.
Just friends?
Yes.
Okay. And you acknowledge that you provided an interview to police in this case, is that right?
Yes.
And that interview was given the day of the incident, is that true?
It was.
Okay. Is your memory better on the day of the incident, or is it better 21 months later?
I would say it's just about the same.
Okay. You would agree that in your interview that you gave on the day of the incident to police, you never mentioned to them that you had a conversation or heard Mr. Miu talking about little girls in any way, right?
Yes.
You never tell them that, do you?
I didn't. I was still in shock. There was a lot of little details that I could have explained, but there was still a lot going through my head, and I couldn't possibly process every single little detail that happened, but I tried to give him the best I could at that moment.
Well, the good news is we've had 21 months since then. In those 21 months, did you ever follow up with them and say, you know, I left something out? He told me he was looking for little girls. Did you ever do that?
I made sure to tell my team that a couple weeks before this happened when we were talking.
You told the prosecution a couple weeks before this happened, before this testimony?
Yes.
That had happened?
Yes.
Okay. You never tell the police that, right?
No, not at those moments, no.
Okay. And you never follow up with them and tell them, right?
No, I didn't.
What you tell them is, you see a guy snorkeling by himself, and we're just saying, oh, he's snorkeling by himself, right? That's what you tell police.
Yes.
Is that true?
Yeah.
We're going to hit the pause button on this testimony and bring in criminal defense attorney and former district attorney Matthew Mangino. Matthew, when we are seeing this young person on the stand, he was 17 years old at the time of this incident. The victim, the fatal stabbing victim, Isaac Schuman, he was 17 as well. So was the other witness that we saw on the stand, Jawan Cockfield, who was recording. They're all high schoolers. Does the prosecution need to really be leaning into humanizing as much as possible and emphasizing the young age of at least that group, even though there was this other group of older young people in their 20s?
Yeah, I mean, certainly this witness was very emotional, and you could tell that it was genuine emotion. You know, he saw his friend stabbed. He took him out of the water onto the shore. He was very emotional when he found out that he had passed away at the hospital. So I think the defense needs to tread wisely here, not to just go after this witness. I mean, he was 17 at the time. He's still a young man, and he's emotionally tied to this victim. You don't want to really take him on because I think he's the jury's sympathetic with what this young person observed and what happened to his friend. So you got to be very careful how you deal with this witness on cross-examination.
Absolutely, but we have already seen him go after, if you will, not go after, but be firm and aggressive with the other ones.
With Jawan Cockfield, for sure.
And Madison, we didn't get to watch that, but our team said same line of questioning. I'm assuming they'll keep on with Alex here. So let's get a break. We'll get you back into the courtroom, and we'll see how the defense sort of manages this young person on the stand that they really do need to use to further their belief that this was self-defense. Stay with us.
Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard.
A multi-million-dollar high-stakes he said, she said.
He is an abuser.
She clocked me in the jaw.
Amber Heard forever changed Mr. Depp's life and reputation.
Everything I've said to date now is the truth.
Why lie?
What happened behind closed doors?
It was a shocking story.
Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard. Weekdays 4 to 8 on Court TV Legendary Trials. Stream with your favorite app or find out how to watch on CourtTV.com.
Welcome back to Court TV Live. We have been watching testimony in the Apple River Stabbings trial for defendant Nicolae Miu.
Prosecution claims that Miu was the aggressor in a stabbing incident that killed 17-year-old Isaac Schuman and injured 4 others. The defense says this was self-defense.
And they say that Miu was scared for his life. The prosecution has a witness on the stand now who was in the group with the fatal stabbing victim, Isaac Schuman. The friend is Alex Vang. He's testifying about what he saw after his friend was stabbed.
Is that true?
Yeah, he looked like he was about to do some snorkeling activities, yeah.
Okay. And then you just say he was chirping back at us and we were chirping at him, right?
Yeah, I made a little joke like, the water's super short, you know, like what you looking for, maybe just a little chirping, like, yeah, the water's short, you know, maybe it's not, maybe like, I don't know anything about snorkeling. It was a little joke.
And does he respond to you?
Yes, he did.
What does he say?
I asked him what he was doing, looking in the water. He said he was something along the lines of, I'm looking for little girls or something.
Okay. Now, of course, that's not on tape, right?
It's not.
And Juwan Cockfield has testified, and he agreed that your group was antagonizing Mr. Miu. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Would you agree that, at least on tape, the loudest antagonizer is Juwan Cockfield? Would you agree with that?
He was the closest to the phone.
I mean, you can hear his voice the most.
Yes.
Right? And do you recall Juwan Cockfield on video saying grown men cannot have sex with little girls and calling him a raper? Remember that?
I don't recall.
Just listen to this.
You know, this is the second eyewitness to admit that they were antagonizing the defendant, and that the things that they were saying, you know, that gets you close to this legal word of provocation, and that's what the defense would have to show, that there was adequate provocation for him to carry out these stabbings.
Matthew Mangino, you did have, you know, these kids that he just said we were smoking a little weed and drinking. It was that type of atmosphere. Does it matter the pregame, the prelude actually to the actual event? Does it matter who started what, who said what, who did what, until that moment where there's physical activity and he's down in the water?
Well, if you're going to present a defense of self-defense, you have to be able to show that you were, you know, reasonably in apprehension of your physical safety. Okay, so you have to show that there was a legitimate reason for you, in this case, the defendant, to use lethal force. Okay, so we hear a lot about different things like stand your ground and others, and you know, you still need that component that your fear of serious bodily injury or death, you know, was reasonable, and that using lethal force to protect yourself, to defend yourself, was reasonable under the circumstances. And that's what this jury's going to have to sift through. They're hearing about this, you know, ongoing name calling and antagonizing, and ultimately, you know, some physical confrontation. But was it reasonable under those circumstances to stab someone in defense of yourself?
It's not a scientific sampling, but some of our viewers who are commenting on social media are saying, if I were in that position, if that many people were around me, I would be scared.
In water.
In water.
I think water is a huge part of the component, because in water you have this potential lethal scenario. Water, yes, it's short, but it's shallow.
And once your face is in it, all bets are off.
Right. You know, you don't need much. All right. They had a little delay there in the courtroom. That's over. The questioning is beginning. Let's go back in.
You see any little girls around there?
I did not.
Is that you, Mr. Vang?
Yes.
Okay.
Grown man trying to have sex with little girls. Who the
Whoa. You remember that now?
Yes.
Okay. And at that point, Mr. Miu's not bothering you guys at all, is he?
No, he's walking away.
Okay. Walking away, and you guys, at least Mr. Cockfield, starts calling him a raper. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And you tell police that you say, we almost started calling him a predator and a pedophile, right? You didn't almost, you did, right?
Yes.
So you have no idea why he's there, right?
No.
And you guys take to just humiliating this man. True?
We wouldn't say what we said if he didn't say what he said.
I know, but as we've already established, you don't tell that to the police and it's not on the video, right?
Say again?
We've already established you don't tell the police that he said that, and it's not on any video that was recorded.
Oh, objection, Your Honor. That's been asked and answered.
It has been. We're plowing the same ground.
Okay. So, do you, when he walks up to your tubes, you said that you were, if I have it right, you were very scared. Is that right?
Yes, and I would say he ran up to us, and I was scared.
Okay. Did your fear dissipate as time went on? Or did you remain very scared throughout the incident?
I was still internally as scared as I was.
He walks around your tubes and starts walking away from your group. Is that right?
Maybe a few steps.
He turns his back to your group? He turns his back to your group, yes?
Yes.
Okay. And at that point, you just want to get by? You just want to be able to get past him? Is that fair?
Yeah, we were floating down still. From where he was, it would just be like this. Like, we were just moving along the river, going with the flow, until he ran up to our tubes and stopped us.
I'm going to need you to listen to my question. My question was, what you're hoping for is that you're able to get past him. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And there comes a point where this blonde woman that you've mentioned, she's testified, Madison Cohen, where she starts to come over, right?
Yes.
And he moves from where you guys are over to her, doesn't he?
Yes.
Okay. He gives you that path that you're looking for to float on by, right?
Yes.
You don't take it, though, do you?
He already stopped us.
That's not my question. My question is, you've admitted he gives you a path and you don't take it, right?
Yes.
You stay, right?
Yes.
Your group stays, don't they?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, getting a little aggressive on the cross. We need to slip in a break. We'll have more in just a bit.
And we also have coming up on the other side, Matt Johnson, a live update on jury selection in the Chad Daybell trial. Don't want to miss it. Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Julia Janae, along with Ted Rollins. Thanks so much for being with us. Testimony is underway in the Apple River Stabbings trial that we're following. The defendant is Nicolae Miu, and prosecutors accuse him of stabbing several people who were tubing along Wisconsin's Apple River. That chaotic scene ended with 17-year-old Isaac Schuman being killed.
The prosecution says that this was a case of Miu being the aggressor on the river on that July day when he approached the group, and all he had to do was walk away. The defense, on the other hand, says this group taunted Miu, then surrounded him, and it scared him to the point where he thought his life was in danger because they pushed him into the water, and this was a clear case of self-defense.
We're going to get you back into the courtroom in that case in just a moment, but we're also paying attention to Idaho, where it is day 2 of jury selection in the trial for Chad Daybell. He's, of course, accused in the deaths of his wife, Tammy Daybell, and his current wife, Lori Daybell's children, JJ and Tylee. And right now we have with us Court TV crime and justice correspondent Matt Johnson, who is on the ground there in Idaho. Matt, what can you tell us about the latest in jury selection?
Julia, Ted, nice to see you both. So here at the County Courthouse, where jury selection is now in day 2. During this, what could be a lengthy process this week, at least 3 potential jurors raised their cards, their number cards, when they were asked if they already had preconceived notions, if they thought Chad Daybell was guilty. Of course, he's accused in the crimes in the murders of his wife, Tammy, and also Lori Vallow Daybell's 2 children, JJ and Tylee. Only 14 of the 16 potential jurors who were in today's group showed up for court this morning. That created quite a delay. 8 are still in the box. That includes 3 women and 5 men. Court is looking for a pool of 50 to whittle down to 16, and that'll include 18 rather, and that'll include 6 alternates. Jurors are being asked about hardship and knowledge of the case. Jury selection in Chad Daybell's trial, again, is expected to last longer this week because it is a death penalty case than what we saw with Lori Vallow Daybell.
We're getting some images from inside the courtroom this time around that we didn't have during Lori's trial, but you've been in there. What can you tell us about the color inside the courtroom? What stands out?
Right, so Chad Daybell walks in with his attorney. He's very jovial. He's smiling outside of the presence of the jury. He likes everything at the defense table to be in place. So he squares up all of the papers and the pins at the table, and he pays close attention to those jurors as they're being asked questions, especially about the death penalty and especially about his guilt and whether or not they've made a decision in that just yet. But he is engaging. He's talking to his attorney quite a bit, John Pryor. That's another difference in this case. Lori Vallow Daybell had different attorneys. But in the gallery, we're seeing a lot of familiar faces. And today is only day 2, but the gallery is more filled. And of course, we're seeing podcasters that we saw the first time around. There's actually a juror from Lori Vallow Daybell's trial that was seated next to me. He's working on his 2nd book.
Okay, this case obviously has garnered a lot of attention for many, many years. Matt Johnson, good to see you outside that Ada County Courthouse where you'll be parked for the next couple of weeks. Let's go back, though, to Wisconsin now on the stand, and we'll pick up more of the testimony from the one fatality's good friend, Alex Vang. He talked about taking his friend out of the river and onto the shore. Right now, though, he's on cross-examination, and the defense is getting a little aggressive. Let's watch.
Hey, and you guys who have the ability to go past him, do you hear this woman yelling at him?
I do.
Okay. And she never tells you guys to go past, does she?
I don't recall.
Okay. Do you hear Joanne Cockfield tell her he's looking for little girls?
I don't recall.
Okay. Ryan Nelson describes her as getting, and Joanne did too, by the way, as getting the blonde girl, as getting in Mr. Miu's face. Did you agree with that?
Yeah, she was face-to-face with him.
Okay. Ryan Nelson said that she was in his personal space. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay. I've asked some of your group to listen. You can watch, but you need to listen to hear if you can hear on this video someone say the words, "You've got 10 seconds." Okay? So I just want you to listen to it and tell me if you hear it. You can
gotcha.
play it twice if you can. I would just ask that you listen, okay, Mr. Ray?
What did you say?
You can play it. Yes, I did.
Okay, so somebody in your group says you got 10 seconds, right? Do you say that?
No.
I'm going to object. You didn't let him answer the first question about someone in his group said that.
Sustained. Can you ask? Sure. Go back and just clean it up.
Do you say that?
I do not.
Okay. You hear someone, on this recording, you hear someone say it, right?
On the video, yes.
Okay. You'd agree that you don't believe it's Juwan Cockfield because he's holding the camera, right?
No.
So, fair to say it's someone else in your group, yes?
I don't recall if it was our group.
Okay. The other group wasn't over there at that point, right?
I didn't know where that point of the video was.
Okay. As the blonde girl comes over, she comes over with a couple other people, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so, and at that point you believe that Mr. Miu's alone? True.
Yes.
So, when she comes over, she brings a couple people with her, so it's, and you have 6, so at that point it's at least 8, 9 people versus 1, right? Is that fair?
Yep.
Ryan Nelson said that changed his fear level, that the more people that showed up, the less his fear decreased, and so did Juwan Cockfield. Is that how you felt?
Yeah, I would say it slightly got better, but I mean, there was still commotion in front of us. I mean, it helped that a different group came to help us out, but I mean, the threat level was still there from what I saw.
You don't see Mr. Miu with a knife, right?
I don't.
Okay, so the threat level, you have 9 people around you, he's by himself, and you felt the threat level was high. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to show you number 2440, okay? Is that you?
It is.
Is that you? Are you in this picture? Do you appear to be concerned or afraid in that picture?
No.
Okay. And is it fair to say that you're not afraid or concerned because the numbers of people have increased in part?
Say again?
You initially said that you were very afraid and very scared, right? You just said on that photo that you don't appear to be very afraid or very scared. True?
Yeah.
My question to you is that because the number of people that have shown up has increased?
Yeah.
Yes. So the more people that show up to assist, the less afraid you're becoming.
Yes.
You are, right? Okay. And you would agree that Mr. Miu's not doing anything in terms of being, at that point, being physically aggressive to anyone, right?
Yep.
He's not saying anything aggressive either, is he?
I don't recall.
If he would have said anything aggressive, do you think you would have, I know you didn't remember everything, but do you think you might have put it in your statement?
Possibly. I don't know. I don't completely remember what's going on through my head when I was giving my statements.
Did you ever ask to maybe do it another time when you felt a little better?
I did not.
Okay. Now, you agree there comes a point when you and your group come around to Mr. Miu and are pointing at him and calling him a predator, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you're doing that to humiliate him, aren't you?
I'd phrase it as calling him out.
Calling him out. That's why you were doing it.
Yes.
Okay. And in terms of the blonde girl that you say you see get hit, I want to make sure I got it right. You said right hand?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's bring in National Trial Attorney Michael Jafer, who is standing by watching this with us. We've hit the pause button on that testimony. But, Michael, I want to ask you about this video. We keep seeing it over and over again in evidence. And typically, when there is video of an incident, the defense doesn't want to get it played over and over, and the prosecution wants to show it as much. What do you think about the repeated showing of this particular video?
They're playing the cards that they were dealt. Right? They have a good card, they have a good ace in the hand, and they want to play it. Because you look at all the evidence, obviously, before a trial starts, both the prosecution and the defense, and you look at all the various evidence that helps you and doesn't help you. So if for the defense to keep playing the video, I must assume that the video helps them or helps an element that they're trying to prove. They're clearly right now trying to prove the point that, hey, why did you say that you were scared, but here in this video you're laughing? You weren't scared. Why weren't you scared? Is it because more people showed up? And so they want to show that, hey, more people showed up on their side, and so they had no reason to be afraid. Our client did have a reason to be afraid. Our client admittedly killed somebody with a knife, but he didn't do it because he's a sociopath. He did it because he was afraid, and here's the evidence of why he was afraid.
Yeah, and this has been the theme with all the cross-examinations of these witnesses that were there. Defense really trying to get across that you guys were picking on this person. You weren't scared, you were laughing. And then hoping the jury's going to make that leap to he was scared and he was being,
encircling, surrounding. They want to show that they didn't give him any opportunity to leave.
Yeah, and the video does seem to back that up. In fact, we're going to get a break in here, but coming up, this witness will be asked, are you trying to tailor your testimony to fit the video? We'll see what the reaction to that question is when we come back.
Tonight on Closing Arguments, the desperate search for Sebastian Rogers, the teenager with autism who disappeared from his Tennessee home in February and has yet to be located. We'll bring you the latest in the investigation. And jury selection continues in the death penalty case against Chad Daybell. Our legal experts break down what the state and defense are both looking for in potential jurors. Court TV teams are live from Idaho with all the latest.
Closing Arguments tonight at 8/7 Central on Court TV.
Welcome back to Court TV Live. We are following the trial for a 51-year-old, Nicolae Miu. It's underway right now in Wisconsin. He's accused of first-degree intentional homicide for the stabbing death of 17-year-old Isaac Schuman. This happened on the Apple River there in Wisconsin. He also faces 4 counts of attempted first-degree intentional homicide because he stabbed 4 other people. And he doesn't deny that he did that, but he claims that he was acting in self-defense.
We're watching the testimony right now from one of the friends who was along on this tubing trip and was an eyewitness. He's in the videos. His name is Alex Vang. He's on cross-examination.
Or slap?
I'd say punch, but I don't know all the way. I'd say I'd estimate a punch.
Okay, so fair to say that if he hits her with his right hand, he hits her on the left side of her face, right?
Yep.
So he hits her on this side of her face.
This side, yes.
Yeah, okay. There's been various statements on how it happened. Juwan Cockfield referred to it as a hook. Is that how you would refer to it?
Yeah, it was a pretty good punch.
Okay, so pretty good punch with his right hand, punching her in the left side of her face.
Yes.
Okay. Are you aware that he was holding a knife in his right hand?
After the video, I did, yes.
Okay. So your testimony under oath today is that he would have had to punch her, right? He couldn't slap her. How would you slap her holding a knife, right? Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So with a knife in his hand, with a closed fist, he makes a hook motion and punches her in the face. That's your testimony?
Yes.
Okay. You told police that he slapped her in the face, didn't you?
Yeah.
So under oath today, you're changing your testimony?
Yeah.
Because your memory's better today than it was months ago?
I'd say it's about the same or a little better.
Okay. So if he's holding the knife, comes across her like this and punches her in the face. That's your testimony. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. And you agree you told police he slapped her to the ground, right?
Yes.
You're saying that's a lie?
Well, I've seen the video. But I mean, according to my statement, that's just from what I remembered when the moment happened.
So are you tailoring your testimony today based on what you've seen on that video?
No. But from what I remember is that she didn't fall, but she did get hit in the face.
Right, but it's much different than what you told the police that day, right?
Once again, I was in a lot of shock, and there was a lot of details that I completely didn't process at the moment. I apologize, but that was the best I could have gave at that moment at that time.
And I think you told police when you see Mr. Miu get hit, you believe that he's, quote, almost knocked out, right?
Yeah, he fell to the floor.
Okay. But in your opinion on that day, he's hit to the point that you believe that he might be knocked unconscious.
Yes, when I see someone fall to the floor after they get, I can assume that they might have fell unconscious or they might have gone dazed.
Okay. And certainly falling into the water unconscious, that would be dangerous, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Okay. And he's a big guy, isn't he? Like on that day, he was a big guy.
Yes.
All right. So when you see a man the size of Mr. Miu get punched in the face, knocked in the water, you believe potentially unconscious, he's getting his butt kicked, isn't he?
Yeah, I would say he got hit, yeah.
I mean, he's getting his butt kicked, right? There's multiple people hitting him.
Objection to the term multiple.
Multiple.
Overruled. You can agree or disagree with the characterization. It's cross-examination.
Can you give me the characterization again?
He's getting hit multiple times. You'd agree with that?
Yes.
He's getting hit, knocked on the ground, and then hit again across the face. You'd agree with that?
Yes.
Right? You see on the video him getting pushed from behind, right?
I don't recall if that was on the video or not.
Okay. And my question to you was, you believe he's getting his butt kicked, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you were asked if he did anything to you. And you said no, right?
No.
You didn't do anything to him either, did you?
Correct.
One question. You agree that when he gets knocked into the ground, when he gets knocked on the ground in the water, you'd agree at that point he's surrounded by people. You'd agree with that. People have moved around him at that point, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't have a place to go at that point. True?
True.
Nothing else.
Just not dead.
Alex, Mr. Truffs, he'd asked you about Mr. Miu getting his butt kicked. When he stood up out of the river, did you see him bleeding anywhere?
No.
Did you see any marks anywhere?
No.
His face looked swollen at all?
Not that I recall.
In contrast, did you see other folks bleeding?
Yes.
Do you remember how many? At that point when he...
From what I remember, I saw the lady who got stabbed, the man with the stomach open, and my friend Isaac. But there was blood all over the water.
Did any of those people who were stabbed at any point have a knife in their hands?
No.
Nothing further?
Mr. Truffsy. Thank you, Mr. Vang. You may step down. Is he excused? No. All right, please see the witness coordinator on your way out. She'll give you additional instructions. I understand lunch has arrived, so I think this will be a great place to break.
All right, let's, that was it for the morning session. We're a little bit behind, but they're still at lunch there in Wisconsin. And boy, some compelling testimony from these kids. Now, I guess, young adults, but at the time, absolute kids.
You can see in his face just what it was like going back to that moment, to seeing your friend stabbed, learning that he was killed. It's difficult all around.
Yeah, absolutely. Michael Jafers watching along with us. And Michael, what are your overall thoughts of this case, this self-defense claim by the defense? If you're defending Nicolae, how would you go about getting this across to the defense and trying to get your client's story across? Do you have to put him on?
I absolutely. So if my client in this case has a good, clean background and didn't serve 25 years for stabbing somebody else, I would absolutely put him on. And I'll tell you why. That cross-examination that we just witnessed was very effective. It basically kind of established some of the things in the opening statement for the defense, because their opening statement and their theory of the case is he was defending himself. His life was in danger, and this kid, under cross-examination, admitted that the guy got basically knocked out in the water, right, by people who were, basically stronger than him. So that was a very effective cross-examination. If I was a defense, obviously, on day one, I would wish that the events happened with a gun, not a knife, because with a gun, you could make the defense that you can make the argument that, hey, it was quick. My client had to act. He didn't know if his life was in danger. They could have taken his gun and killed him, but obviously it's with a knife. So with a knife, it's a lot more difficult for the defense because it's more intimate. The chances for retreat are more. So that's the challenge, but that was a very effective cross-examination. So to answer your question, Ted, if my client has a clean background, given the way the testimony is going now, I would absolutely put him on, and he'd just say I was in fear for my life.
Which our understanding is he is someone who does not have a criminal record. That's something his defense has put out there. Someone who, up until this point, had not been in any altercation that we know of that is similar to this one. Do you think, based on what we know, Michael, about this case, that prosecutors could have charged this differently? We're talking about first-degree intentional homicide is what they are saying for this particular situation, knowing that charges in different states is different in the way that they approach them, but we do at least have first-degree and second-degree in Massachusetts.
That puzzled me, to be quite frank. That puzzled me. I think it's an overcharge. Because when you look at the facts and there's a video there, you make the charges that you think are going to stick. You don't want to overcharge, because prosecutors usually overcharge, Julia, on petty crimes, right? Possession of 1 ounce, they'll charge you with maybe 2 ounces, right? So they'll do that because they know that those cases almost invariably plea out, right? This is just not one of those cases. I'm always puzzled by overcharging cases when you know that they're going to be a high-profile case. I mean, given the facts, you should know that this is going to be a high-profile case. I think that was an overcharge. And in my opinion, I think a second-degree murder still would have been very, very, very difficult. Maybe that was their thinking is, hey, we have families of victims and we have to kind of report to them and show them that we're doing the best we can. But I think it was an overcharge.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if lesser includeds will be on that menu list for jurors. And at the end of the day, they know in the back of their mind, let's go for one, but we're probably going to get some sort of manslaughter scenario.
I'm not sure that's about how it's supposed to work, though. They, as the prosecution, need to look at the context of this case, but we're seeing it all play out just as the jury is.